story begins with Bayonetta assuming the role of a nun hosting a funeral, a ruse aimed at summoning angels from Paradiso, the realm of angels. Due to a pact made with Inferno, the realm of demons, in exchange for killing angels, Umbran witches receive incredible power and eternal life, though their soul will be sent to Inferno at the time of their death. After a change of clothes, she easily overpowers them with assistance from weaponsmith Rodin. Following this confrontation, Bayonetta embarks on a journey with Enzo, an information broker who was present during the battle with the Angels, back to a bar owned by Rodin called the Gates of Hell, intending to further discuss discoveries made about a pair of powerful artifacts called the Eyes of the World, as Bayonetta has one in her possession. However, during their journey, they're unexpectedly attacked by a crashing military aircraft, prompting Bayonetta to action. In the midst of the battle, she encounters a mysterious woman wielding an incredibly similar kit and skill set. Although they defeat the angels together, the woman soon disappears, leaving Bayonetta with nothing but a sense of nostalgia. Upon their arrival, after commenting on the strange nature of the encounter, Rodin gives Bayonetta a new set of pistols for her travels. Enzo then broaches the subject of the eyes, revealing that the right eye appeared on the black market before quickly being withdrawn, being sourced to a European town named Vigrid. Bayonetta then sets out for the eye as a means of potentially curing the amnesia she had been living with for 20 years. Whilst fending off angels during her search through the town, she receives visions of the past. This is followed by another encounter with the mysterious woman, who turns out to be a fellow witch by the name of John. After a short battle and conversation, Bayonetta recalls when she was formally challenged by John years ago as part of a ceremony in front of fellow witches. Pushing on, she then encounters a man by the name of Luca, who accuses her of killing his father after he found her sealed inside of a coffin. Despite the accusation, she saves his life from angels, as those in the human realm can't perceive supernatural beings, and she leaves him at the scene. Inside of a church, the witch discovers a young child, and, after a sudden flashback, Bayonetta is forced to battle another angel. After a large battle, a mysterious voice can be heard, claiming to be watching over Bayonetta. Another encounter with Luca follows, where he expands upon his motivation to expose Bayonetta's existence and her character for what she's done. After they separate, John appears again for another duel, describing it as unfinished business. A flashback then appears, showing John seemingly striking a lethal blow against Bayonetta with a sword. The two do battle for a time, but circumstances cut things short, and Bayonetta uses a newly learned technique to escape the situation unharmed. After running into the child once more, she hears a voice telling her that the child is the key and needs to be protected, and she does as such. The child introduces herself as Cereza, and claims Bayonetta is her mother. With no memory to cite, the witch begrudgingly accepts her role and protects her as she continues her travels. Running into Luca and, after a bit of flirting, she decides to entrust the girl to him so that she'll be safe. Strangely, as Bayonetta is leaving, she notices that Cereza can see her despite being in a different world, which shouldn't be possible for a normal human. Following another massive battle, Bayonetta spots Luca driving toward the man-made island of Isla del Sol with Cereza, and helps the two safely cross the bridge leading there. After a series of battles, Luca, being one step ahead of Bayonetta, gives the full context of Bayonetta's general history and how it relates to their current situation. He tells her of two clans that once coexisted in the city of Vigrid, the Lumen Sages, Servants of Light, and the Umbran Witches, Servants of Dark. Each clan possessed an Eye of the World, and used said power to maintain peace, but it wouldn't last as the sacred oath preventing crossbreeding between the two clans was broken. This caused the father to be exiled whilst the mother was imprisoned for her transgression, eventually leading to a war that would result in the destruction of both clans, save for a select few survivors. Now the massive Ithavolt corporation, based on the island, is in possession of the opposing eye to Bayonetta, which makes their headquarters the goal. Bayonetta then has a short conversation with Cereza, where she discovers that the girl owns a watch identical to her own, that she had apparently given to her as a birthday gift. She instructs the girl to always keep it with her, using one of her hair ribbons to let her wear it on her chest. Following two more battles with John, it's revealed that Bayonetta was the child that sparked the deadly conflict between the two clans, and that she's actually John's best friend, Cereza. Though she originally took John for being the one that sealed her away out of malice, Bayonetta comes to realize that her old friend did this out of duty to her people. Being blasted away to the main Ithavolt tower, Bayonetta confronts the CEO, the last Lumen Sage by the name of Baldur, who is actually Cereza's, and by proxy, Bayonetta's father. He reveals that Bayonetta's journey with Cereza, her younger self, was a means of reawakening her Eye of the World that was dormant due to the loss of her memories. Once the two eyes were reunited, he could summon the goddess Jubileus and recreate the universe. He had even mind-controlled John and had her steer Bayonetta down the appropriate path to this end. After revealing to Luca that he was originally his father's killer, he tosses him out of the window to his presumed death. He then absorbs the child version of Bayonetta, and the two do battle, with the Umbran Witch coming out on top. After a reunion with the surviving Luca, Bayonetta parts ways with her younger self and fully regains her memory. However, this was all according to plan for Baldur, who would capture the fully awakened witch and fuse with her into a statue that would become the goddess Jubileus. As the two fly up into space to complete the ritual, John suddenly appears and makes a mad dash to Bayonetta, extracting her from the statue and pleading with her to finish the fight. As Baldur loses his life during the summoning, Bayonetta has a final battle with the goddess in space and wins, with the two witches then plummeting back down to Earth. We then cut to a funeral, similar to the one in the beginning, being held in Bayonetta's name, except this time it's a ruse by John to summon more angels, and the two witches do battle together. While out Christmas shopping with Enzo, Bayonetta meets with John, who comments on how Paradiso and Inferno have been acting strange lately. After aerial display planes are hijacked by angels, the two witches jump into battle, with Bayonetta going for a usual stylish finish with a demon summon. However, this time, the demon escapes its portal in a rage, and John intervenes before Bayonetta is struck. Her soul ends up being ejected from her non-lifeless body, and as per the standard witch's contract, is dragged down to Inferno. After defeating the rogue demon, Bayonetta consults Rodin, who informs her that not all was lost yet. John's soul hasn't been fully absorbed into Inferno, and if it were reunited with her body, theoretically it should revive her. However, in the meantime, Rodin will hold on to her body. With John's watch as a measure of how much time remains, Bayonetta journeys with Enzo to the only known direct entrance to Inferno, on the sacred mountain of Fimbulwinter. She soon encounters a young boy with amnesia named Loki in a village at the base of the mountain. The two strike a deal where Bayonetta will escort him to the top, and he'll use his power to grant her entry into Inferno, though Loki himself isn't quite sure of why exactly he needs to get to the top. After the usual bouts with angels, Bayonetta runs into Luca, who came to be of assistance and bringing information about the legend of a god named Aesir. He was the original creator of mankind and ruled over them from Fimbulwinter. However, after a time, he grew to pity them and so gave them free will. Leaving Luca behind, the pair make their way to the top of the mountain before being confronted by a Lumen sage they had encountered earlier, and a projection of a being named Lopter, who seems to share a relationship with Loki. He and Bayonetta duke it out until he shares a vision of the past with her. Baldur wasn't always a malicious actor. Not only was he not responsible for the death of Bayonetta's mother, Rosa, but he genuinely mourned her. The true killer was a young boy who shared a striking resemblance to Loki. Just when things were getting bad, Loki opens a portal to Inferno and quickly gets Bayonetta to jump in with him, both escaping danger and progressing. However, there was no time to rest, as Bayonetta notices that she's running dangerously low on time to save her friend. As luck would have it, she runs into an opportunistic demon who holds John's soul. After defeating her, Bayonetta reunites John's soul with their body, though the touching reunion wouldn't last, as Loki was once again being attacked by the Lumen Sage, who's revealed to be a younger Baldur. Before he can finish off his daughter, Loki creates a large shockwave that blasts Bayonetta 500 years into the past. Much to her shock, she runs into her mother, Rosa, and the two would work together in a large battle against invading angels. Following a sizable victory, the two get separated during an angel ambush, and Bayonetta runs into Lopter. After being knocked away, she runs into Baldur, and the two witness the aftermath of a lethal attack on Rosa from Lopter, revealing him to be her true killer. He manages to make his escape, and Rosa implores Baldur to take care of their daughter. Bayonetta makes a portal leading back to the present, briefly grieving her mother before returning with her father to deal with Lopter. They're transported to Fimbulwinter via a jet flown by John, but they arrive to Loki already being apprehended. With the full context of his wife's death, Baldur rightfully attacks Lopter but is blasted away. The villain explains that he and Loki are two halves of the god of chaos, Aesir, separated when he gave his power to mankind in the form of the eyes of the world. With intentions of returning to godly status and ruling the human world, he extracts Loki's powers and uses his newfound power to defeat both Bayonetta and Baldur. Following an obligatory villain speech, the father and daughter pair re-engage the god. Loki takes the opportunity to use his remaining strength to destroy the eyes of the world, significantly diminishing Lopter's strength. He's promptly defeated by a fused summon made by our two heroes, and is sent straight into the jaws of the same demon that took John's life, summoned by the woman herself. All that remains is Lopter's soul, which attempts to flee and be reborn at a different time. Baldur absorbs him quickly and leaps into our portal, dooming himself to corruption and inevitably becoming the villain that Bayonetta would face in the first game. As for Loki, he has a short conversation with Bayonetta, expressing his faith in mankind to do things on their own, and the lack of need for himself or Aesir. He bids farewell to the Umbran Witch, claiming that they may meet again someday when he's reborn once more. We cut to another shopping session with the two witches, before Enzo flies in under assault from angels. With a stained dress and an initially annoyed look, Bayonetta and her revived friend happily go into battle once again. We find Bayonetta out on the streets of New York once again, both teasing and saving Enzo as per usual. Whilst they travel, she hears a voice in her head begging for help, and subsequently boards a cruise ship to investigate. The ship is soon attacked by strange beings that appear to have no connection to Paradiso or Inferno. Even Rodin seems perplexed after an attempt to stop the invading force. John joins the fray as expected, and the two witches defeat a demon Kraken. Back at the gates of hell, they're introduced to a young lady named Viola, who had suddenly fallen onto Enzo in his car, demanding to see Bayonetta before passing out. She fills everyone in on the current situation, that the strange beings are actually artificial creations called homunculi, created and ruled by an entity called the Singularity, who poses an existential threat to all of existence. This means not only the realms, but even the multiverse, with all versions of our main cast included. Though there's an air of suspicion at the appearance of a well-informed, presumed amateur witch, everyone agrees to help, with Bayonetta noting how familiar Viola's pet demon seems to be. The two arrive together at a hidden island named Thule to obtain the Chaos Gears, items that grant access to the Alphaverse, the universe of origin for the homunculi and Singularity. There, they discover a large portal generator, and the two get separated as Bayonetta is transported to an alternate version of the Tokyo metropolitan area. Homunculi seem to be running rampant, and Bayonetta soon encounters a strange feral creature called Strider. After a few battles, Bayonetta eventually manages to seize a Chaos Gear from a large foe, thus beginning a cycle of traveling to different universes in search of a Chaos Gear, discovering alternate versions of the core cast in the process, who often lose their lives. After a series of battles across the multiverse, Bayonetta manages to gather all of the Chaos Gears and makes her way to Thule. Upon her return, Bayonetta encounters John, who had summoned Dr. Sigurd, a student of the multiverse and the version of Singularity native to their universe, to assist in unlocking the portal to the Alphaverse. With the portal now aglow, Bayonetta enters, facing a large homunculus resembling an airship. As she boards, Strider appears, and Bayonetta, now aware of his identity as a corrupted Luca, attempts to calm him down. This attempt fails, however, and the fight persists, culminating in Strider dangling off a ledge, with Bayonetta attempting to reach out in a final attempt to save him. However, he pushes her away as the essence of Dark Adam, the source of his corruption stemming from the death of the Alphaverse version of Luca, escapes his grasp, sending him plummeting below. After defeating Dark Adam, Viola and the Fairy King version of Luca On, arrives to rescue Strider. The group soon discovers the sinister Dr. Sigurd living above, realizing that Singularity had killed and taken over the Sigurd in Thule, and the trip to the Alphaverse was actually a trap. With the Fairy King's assistance, Luca regains his true form and mastery of his fairy magic, stepping in to help Bayonetta and Viola reach Singularity and coming to assist as Strider. He then transforms and paves the way for the two to proceed. Waking in the ruins of New York, Bayonetta confronts Singularity. She manages to overpower his first form, and the battle makes its way to the moon, where he further transforms. During the course of the battle, the spirits of different variants from different universes who died return, including John, who had been backstabbed by Singularity earlier. With the aid of these variants, the odds are even and the battle makes its way back down to Earth. Singularity transforms once more, and despite her best efforts, Bayonetta is on the back foot and is about to be killed, when she's saved by Bayonetta variants representing the first and second games. This still isn't enough, however, so the three witches unite into one and create an opening for Viola to land a blow. This also gives Singularity an opening, however, and he apprehends Viola, but is stopped by Luca, who joins Bayonetta as Strider against the villain. A final summon finally does the job, but the victory comes at a large cost. Bayonetta sustained too much damage, and her watch is destroyed, making her lose control of her summon, which knocks the soul out of her body. Luca desperately tries to save her after dispatching the demon, but instead all he can do is share his feelings in a final embrace. As per the conditions of a witch's pact, Bayonetta begins to be dragged to Inferno, Luca opting to go with her as the two share a kiss, leaving their daughter from a different time, Viola, behind. Bayonetta would make one final appearance as a lingering will that tests Viola's resolve and strength, ultimately being defeated and acknowledging her successor. Viola not only takes her mother's place, but her title as the new Bayonetta.